Another episode of Shine Insiders Live. I'm Heather Burgett, your host, a visibility business coach, award-winning publicist, and spiritual alchemist. And I help the people in my community get visible to amplify their income, their impact, and their visibility. And today we're going to be talking about magnetic aligned visibility. How do you get it? What is it? What comes up that stops you from getting it? And I have an incredible guest with us today that's going to help us dig into this conversation. So, the big question really is, how do you become magnetic to your ideal audience and clients? This is, the number one thing I think that people at least in my community, I know they're talking about it because people are really over the struggle, hustle cycles. They're looking to have more results with more ease and grace, less effort. And is there a way to do that? Yes, I'm going to say yes, there is. And we give you those secrets when you work with myself in my programs. And I have incredible support and coaches like the beautiful Jennifer Norton, who is here with us today. And I want to give you a little bit of information about her before we dive into this conversation. And Jennifer, she's a highly gifted intuitive healer, energy reader, frequency facilitator, and spiritual guide. She's been doing this for 20 years, and she's used that intuition, advanced energy healing skills to identify and purify and heal your limiting physical, mental, emotional, spiritual beliefs and patterns. And why is this so important? So a lot of you who know me in my community, you know that I always talk about the alignment piece as the number one most important thing when we're talking about your alignment, your mindset, your energy, your frequency, your vibration. Where are you coming from? What is your intention? What space are you holding? What outcome are you looking to have? And this is where it starts. And, from my experience with working as a healing arts practitioner and going on my own deep dive into, my own spiritual journey and path, what I realized is that I was using universal spiritual principles in my business, in my PR agency. And that's why I was getting such massive results for my clients. So when I developed my signature system, my shine strategies, as I call them, to help consultants, business owners, creatives get their own visibility, get to the other side of their vision and dreams for what they hold in their life, I realized that it's not just about the strategy that you have to incorporate. Well, you don't have to do anything, but when you incorporate the spiritual component, the alignment pieces, then it makes the strategy that you're implementing so much easier. So Jennifer, with all that being said, can you tell us a little bit about your experience with working with aligned energy and how that has helped you and impacted you in your own journey with your business?
Sure. If you look at everything as frequency, that it affects everything about us. Like we are made up of primarily energies, frequencies. Maybe we can't necessarily see that, but we most of the time, if you're sensitive enough, you can feel it. And just for example, like if you're having a bad day, you definitely know what that feels like versus when you're feeling wonderful. So it's really about kind of managing energy, right? As we manage the flow of our energy and our frequency, it can really affect kind of the way we attract or repel certain things or people, events, and even money into our lives. So with your program, what's really great is that it really helps people align their energy and to being very specific and focused on what it is they want to put out into the world, right? And even the types of clients they want to attract. And then, based on the work that you do with people, and then even some work that I've done with some of your people, we're looking at like what's coming up for people around their blocks to believing that they can have what they want, or that they can, do the things they want to do with their business and grow it and all of that. And so as we address those things, and it really like removes the obstacles to getting out in the world, shining our light, becoming more visible, making more money, or even creating a program. Like maybe you're not even at that stage where you're ready to have your new clients come in, but maybe you're at the point where you need to write up your program and get that launched and out into the world, or just help people learn more about what you offer. I mean, this is the beauty of what you offer everybody who joins your program, is really helping them streamline that. And it's a great process.
And I love how you share with your own journey as well. So, we're always supporting and teaching what we need to learn. So I often share my story about, I'm an award-winning publicist who has struggled with my own visibility, even though most people would say, oh, it's easy for her. No, I am naturally a behind the scenes person. I liked being an introvert and putting my clients in front of the spotlight. So when I moved into the forefront of my business with an online presence, that was a whole big shift. And so much of my own stuff came up in that process as well. And I know you said as well, as you have slowly started coming out, like me, from behind the shadows, behind the scenes, putting yourself more present. You had mentioned that you had been practically paralyzed when it came to doing public events or live interviews. And, you had a lot of fear coming up, the feelings of not enough. And so this is what happens. And, I can absolutely relate. I didn't even want to have my photo on my website. So, that's why we're there to support the women as they're stepping into higher visibility, because it's an ongoing journey. And every time you do a little bit more, you stretch and grow. And the container, your own, energetic and physical container of what you're doing is expanding. So can you talk a little bit about kind of where you were, the paralyzed feeling, the fear, and then how you got to the other side of that?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I guess I was always kind of aware of being camera shy. I never liked having my picture taken. And then, of course, now we live in the age of video. And that became even more it just made me even more uncomfortable than I already was. And I'm not really sure why I felt that way, because on the one hand, like I knew I needed to become more visible in order to get, more people's attention and awareness and to have more income and clients. But at the other hand, I'm such an introvert myself that I don't know, there was just this thing about being seen. And maybe it was like feeling like I had all these flaws, and I don't know, you start to compare yourself to other people, especially on social media, and it gets really daunting. So it really was a very gradual thing. Working with you has helped me just get more confidence, it just feeling like whatever my issues were about being seen, I've worked through that, just really decided that it didn't matter what anybody really thought, as long as I was delivering the message that I felt that needed to be heard, and get it across. So I lost a lot of that feeling of being self-conscious, and became just more comfortable, and even okay with screwing up, or making a mistake. And it's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think that that's one of the barriers that I've struggled with, is that the perfectionism, and that can really paralyze me in terms of getting anything out there, especially camera wise, or I mean, even the written word, I don't know, there's just so many things. But those blocks have really they're not an issue anymore. It's like, okay, what program do I want to create? What are my next steps? Who do I want to contact in terms of, maybe getting on podcasts, or an article written up? So all those little, what I would now call petty fears, which felt so insurmountable at the beginning, those are gone. Now it's like, oh, how can I move forward? And now there's excitement there, which wasn't there before. So that's just great.
I love that. And that's what I think. I finally distilled it down when I was like, what is the super skill I'm bringing? We all have our superpowers and super skills, our zone of genius. And while I use my shine strategies, visibility, publicity, marketing, branding, all of that to support women in their business development, I realized like the one big thing truly is that I have, the ability to identify, where they're stuck. And that's why you're there in the group with me too, because you are so good at lasering in on that and seeing where people stopping or being blocked or just limiting themselves. And it's really just, being able to move through that. And actually, I want to actually touch on that, because I think I have this kind of new thing that's formulating, and it's 223. And I want to explain what that is, because it's like my way of remembering the talking points. So these are the kind of things you learn when you work with me. Like, how do you remember your talking points when you're going live? And so the two biggest mistakes that a lot of these consultants and creatives are making is waiting or stopping. There is something blocking them, like you mentioned, and I mentioned, like we all have our things and they're different for everyone. I mean, I do see a lot of similar patterns coming up, but there are two reasons. So the next two, we said two big mistakes, waiting or stopping. Two biggest reasons are either a limiting belief or fear, or not knowing the steps. Because I noticed that some women that show up in my sphere, they actually are very confident at putting themselves out there. So they might not have that issue around being seen or fear of being on stage, but they don't know the steps of how to get this sort of organic traffic and leads that I teach them to get. And so you've got this limiting belief or fear, or not knowing the steps. These are the things that are waiting or keeping you waiting from doing this work, or stopping you from doing this work. Now, what's the three? The three ways that these show up, the reasons that you're not doing the things, the three ways they show up are analysis paralysis, perfectionism, which you just touched on, and imposter syndrome. So those are the three most common symptoms of the things that are stopping or blocking you, which most people don't really know what it is. So, what I will say is that some of the common things that I hear, and I'll just rattle a couple of these off to see if this resonates with anyone. I'm not ready. I'm not really an expert. PR is for later or other people. What will people think? Judgment. I tried PR and it didn't work. What if I offend or get it wrong? I'll have haters or trolls. What if I'm rejected? I'm not good enough. I'm not educated or credentialed enough. I'll lose my privacy. I'll appear arrogant. No one will care or want what I have. So these are just a small smattering of the things that I hear on a daily basis from people in my community. And so this is where it's so important that we start with this piece, because if we don't tackle this first and get that clear so that these things aren't stopping you or keeping you waiting till later, then you can continue to spin your wheels for a very long time and implement all the strategies in the world, but you're still having these core things, these challenges that are holding you back. So Jennifer, can you talk a little bit about how your super skills, how we use them in the group to, when these things are coming up for the ladies, like how we help them and support them work through what comes up? Yeah.
So basically, once the issue's been identified, which I guess one of my superpower skills is helping people do that, right? Where sometimes we're so close to an issue, we don't really see it or feel it, or we know it's there, but we can't really put our finger on it sometimes. So anyway, I'm really good at helping people figure that piece out, and getting the intuitive guidance about what's going on with that person, and then bringing in the healing around that. It's basically helping them make that shift. First, having the awareness is the I guess the most important part. Is like, okay, look, this is what's really underneath your issue from making it big in the world right now. And then as we identify that, it's bringing the awareness and the energy to that. And then we can actually help shift that using different energy techniques that I've been trained in. And you've also been trained in some of these as well. So, and it doesn't take long. It's really very quick and easy because that's the way I like to work. So just kind of getting into the root cause of the issue and helping to transmute it very quickly, using these energy techniques. And then that person's kind of free from that point to like go beyond whatever that block is and move forward. And it can even be guidance for that person, like about, if they're confused about a certain area and how to move forward. So guidance might come in around what's the best way to do that. It just depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love watching, the master at work. So when, your ability to kind of tune in and see and feel what's happening with the women in the community. I know for a lot of the women, when they come in that first time, the first time we're connecting, even and before they're stepping into the program, that is why I do the application process and we create the visibility action plan. I need to know what their goals are and what's stopping them. And that's where I help them identify. Often they have a challenge or block, but it's truly what's beneath and behind and underneath that thing that's showing up where we have to shift. Right? That's where the mindset or alignment piece comes in. And I know that you and I are, very masterful at being able to support women when it comes to helping them get unstuck or move through those challenges or things that are holding them back. So that's why I thought it would be really wonderful to have this chat today and this conversation with everyone to, just talk about this is a very real thing. And I've had women, show up that they'll say to me, oh, I'm not blocked anywhere. I don't have any blocks. Yet they're not getting the results that they want in their business yet. And it's not to say it's not happening. It's in process. We're all on our own journey. And certainly, it's very much happening. But the thing is, can we move you there quicker, faster, and easier without you having to go through all the long, arduous processing and challenges and hurdles and struggle and hustle, right? Making it simpler and easier. So that's, my big mission in the world is to just help, especially with women in my community. And most of the people in my community are women. And especially in my Shine Online program is specifically for women because we have been really just kind of coming out of this very long period of a patriarchy, and the pendulum is really starting to swing. And, women are really stepping into their own right now. We're all being called forth to do more, be more with what's happening on the planet. It is the time where the world is needing everyone's gifts. We're all being called forth to do what we came here to do. And that is, if you're here and listening, then you're likely a very heart-centered, soulful, purpose-driven consultant, creative, small business owner, someone who is out there that has an important message. You're looking to be of service in the world. You want to make the world a better place. And so that's where we're here holding this container, this high vibe vortex in this space where it becomes possible in a much more manageable, supportive, loving, safe space to move through quicker to getting to the other side of the vision or the goals. So that's the commitment I have made to the women I'm supporting. I'm 100% dedicated to getting them to the other side of their vision. And that's why I called upon my dear friend, Jennifer Norton, and said, hey, there's a lot going on here. And I want to bring in more support. So bringing in people like you and our new copy coach, Ashley Cook, to really make sure that the women are getting the support that they need, because these are unusual times. And we are all stretching and growing, and maybe in ways we never even could have imagined that we would have to in this lifetime. So knowing you're in that place where you're held, guided, supported, and anytime you feel like you're getting a little bit off track, there's a team there, there's a community there where we're truly like all working together on the same vision of working to make the world a better place. So while I attract women into my programs or community they want publicity or visibility, it's so much bigger. It's so much more than that. And I know you have an incredible mission and vision to help people in the world. So I'm so grateful for you being along in this journey with me to support these women. So do you have any kind of last thoughts for everyone today as they think about where they maybe could stretch and grow with their own visibility?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a block isn't obvious. And what I mean by that is, like, maybe the issue, it could be financial, where maybe you've been struggling for a while, and maybe you've done a lot of things to try to change your, money mojo. And maybe it's not really working the way you thought, but that could be because there's a block. Like, you may have an actual intimacy issue, and having an intimacy issue, believe it or not, can really affect your financial abundance. So I guess what I'd like to say is that there's just things that we're not even aware of sometimes, and then having this kind of container where you've got me and Heather and others to kind of help you see like your blind spots, and then having these blind spots kind of revealed can be so helpful, and in terms of just moving forward after that. So I wanted to point that out, and also just having this space of these women is really wonderful, and having Heather there as a leader, because she, with her guidance, she kind of breaks everything down into these steps that are very, doable. Otherwise, it can be very overwhelming, where you just kind of get that analysis paralysis. Where do I start? How do I do this? And she's got so many resources to help, solve these problems or these challenges. So that's also just a really wonderful benefit of working with Heather's program and with her in the group.
Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah. And that's, I am all about strategy. That's like my jam is I'm a Taurus. I'm all about earth action, inspired action, results. Like, that's why I always did so well in my PR agency, was because I was so results oriented that, I never had to do any marketing or advertising for my own business, because it was all word of mouth, right? Like, people would just say, you've got to hire Heather as your PR agent, right? So I realized, that I was going to, now when bringing this to a greater audience, that I was like, how do I bottle this up? How do I package up this magic and share it with people who normally don't get access to this kind of insider information, especially when it comes to PR agencies and the cost associated with that. So really making it accessible, easy, digestible, understandable. And, so while we start with this first looking at like, okay, what's stopping you so far up until this point in your business? The next big step is setting the plan, the action plan. So that's another place where I know I'm absolutely gifted in being able to see the vision for someone, like in the path to get there, to their result they want. So if you're interested, if any of this is resonating with you, then we are taking applications for the Shine Online program, and there's a link here in the post. So what happens when you click on that and you apply is that you book into my calendar, and we will talk about your personalized visibility action plan, what that would look like for you, what steps I would actually recommend for you to reach the goal that you want based on your strengths and what feels good to you in your business and what you like to focus on and what lights you up when you're doing it. So it's a totally customized thing for every single person. It's different. So if you're feeling like, okay, I'm ready for the next chapter, the next level, and I'm just not sure what the steps are, or I know I have some things that are maybe holding me back, right? Like, let's tackle that. Let's get clarity on that for you so that we can get you moving forward. So, with the application call, it literally is just for me to see if the program is a fit for you, if I feel like it truly is the place and time for you to be in there with us. And either way, you'll get your visibility action plan. And if it's a fit, then we can talk about how that could look for you. So, just as a reminder, also, like, Jennifer is an awesome empath and intuitive. So, you can stay connected to her here in the community. You can also find her over on Instagram and, follow her to keep getting her incredible wisdom. But really, we're creating a really, really special place that the women in there, it's incredible to see what's happening for them on a daily basis as they keep posting in, like got on another interview, had another thing run, another podcast, got another new opportunity and new clients, launching all sorts of new programs. So it's a really incredible place to be and an honor to be able to have created this community where there is so much magic happening. So thank you, Jennifer, so much for being here today. I loved having this conversation with you. And hopefully we'll see some of you on the inside. Feel free again to click that link if you want to check out more. And I think we'll just wrap it up there. Jennifer, any last thoughts before we sign off here?
No, I think you've covered pretty much everything. And I'll look forward to seeing people in the group.
All right, everyone. Big kisses and hugs. Thank you so much for being here today. And we will see you in the community. Lots of love.